Be strong.
Hello everyone, welcome to Audio Bites, David Copperfield, a novel by Charles Dickens. So here we are with the episode 5. So let's dive in. With my aunt, I had overheard conversations between my mother and Peggotty. So I knew that my aunt lived in Dover, 70 miles from London. I decided to leave for Dover by coach. My box with my clothes and few possessions in it was too heavy for me to carry all the way to the coach station, and a young man with a donkey and cart offered to take it to the coach station for a small fee. I agreed, but before I knew it, he had snatched both my money and my box and drove off quickly in his rattling old cart, never to be seen again. The only way I could reach Dover now was by walking, because everything I had, including my money, had been stolen. So I began my journey to Aunt Betsy's on foot. I walked until my shoes fell apart and my feet bled. I slept in fields or under trees, like the beggars and tramps that I met on the way. I was very hungry and sold some of my clothes that I was wearing to buy food. So now the last things of my mother had given me were gone. At last I arrived in Dover. I found out where Betsy Trotwood lived by asking people in the town. She had a neat little cottage with a garden full of sweet smelling flowers. I felt embarrassed standing in front of such a cheerful and well kept house because I looked like a tramp, dirty and tired. I took a deep breath when I saw a tall woman with a straight back walk out of the house. This was Aunt Betsy for sure. She looked very bossy, and gardening tools were sticking out of her pockets. She was wearing a pair of large gardening gloves, and she had a knife in her hand. I was about to turn and run away, but I reminded myself of my purpose and approached her. She was shocked to see such a dirty boy at her door. Go away, go along. No boys are here. I watched her with my heart in my mouth as she marched back into her garden. But I was too desperate to leave now. I went in quietly and stood beside her. Then I put my hand on her arm. If you please, ma'am. She turned and looked at me. If you please, aunt. Ah? She amazed. If you please, aunt, I am your nephew. Oh my, said my aunt and sat down on the garden path. I am David Copperfield of Blunderstone in Suffolk, where you came on the night I was born and saw my dear mamma. I have been very unhappy since he died. I have been thrown out of my home and removed from my school. I have been put to work that was not fit for me. It made me run away to you. I was robbed when I set out on my journey to find you and so walked all the way, and I have not slept in a bed since I began the journey. I showed her my torn clothes, and at this point all my strength left me. I burst into tears and could not stop. My aunt looked at me with a shocked expression and then took me by the hand and led me quickly into her parlor. She first gave me food to eat and then put me on the sofa with a shawl under my head and her own handkerchief under my feet. She sat on the floor beside me and looked at me, unable to do anything but stare. After some time, and when I had stopped crying, she asked Mr. Dick to show me where the bathroom was so that I could have a bath. He was a kind of old man who rented a room in my aunt's house. Later, I told my aunt all the details of my short but incredible life. Her eyes became wider and she looked down at the floor. You have been through quite a lot for a 12-year-old boy. That's why I had to come here. You are the only person I could think of who might help me. Oh, this is a difficult situation. I must think. I must think. Aunt Betsy walked up and down whenever she thought over a problem. Finally, she asked Mr. Dick for his advice. What do you think, Mr. Dick? What would you do with the boy? I I would put him to bed. For the first time in months, I slept in a soft and comfortable bed. I was so tired that I slept through all of the next day and night. When I woke up, I smelled fresh baked bread from the kitchen and heard birds singing outside the window. But to my horror, when I went downstairs, I saw Mr. Mudstone and his sister in the parlor, talking with my aunt, and Mr. Dick looked worried, and my aunt's back seemed even stiffer than usual. She looked very serious. Oh, I know very well how David's poor young mother suffered because of you and your sister. You are tyrants, and I know how badly you treated the poor boy. Leave my house at once and never come back. The Mudstones were horrified. You will find out for yourself what an evil boy he is, Miss Trotwood, said Mr. Mudstone as they left the house. And keep off my lawn, shouted Aunt Betsy as she slammed the door behind them. I wanted to clap my hands in delight. My aunt was so brave. When they had gone, my aunt smiled at me. I don't believe a word they said, David. From now on, we'll do what's best for you. All I ask is that you respect us and follow our simple rules. So we come to the end of the episode 5. In case you have not heard to the audiobooks of the previous episodes, check out the description. I've dropped the link to all of them. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode.